we were in Amsterdam at a conference in January. It was the first month. It was New Year's of 2014. So it was like the first month of 2014. And we were coming home from a conference and we were coming back to America because...
that conference was supposed to be crazy. That was before my first conference.
Come back to America because there was a big Senate hearing on Bitcoin. It was the first time like the government was going to talk about Bitcoin, you know, for the first time. And when I landed at JFK, Courtney and I were dating, and I landed at JFK, and I was surrounded at customs by all these agents.
I literally watched it on television, you being taken away.
And I was just like, so like, what is going on? It was a Sunday night. I was tired after a long flight, and like kind of like you're like just exhausted. And here the FBI agents are holding Courtney by the arm and having her point out our luggage. And were they arresting her? Like, why were they, you know, like it was a little aggressive or whatever, you know, but like, you know, here we are in JFK and I don't know what's going on. One of the agents was actually very nice. He gave me a Pepsi, really like him. But I didn't even know I was being arrested for. Yeah. Like, and then
they didn't tell you right then.
Well, remember, I was told I was being arrested for something different. And I had to read the arrest warrant myself. As I'm sitting in the freaking prison cell inside JFK Airport, I'm reading my own arrest warrant and my charges and my complaint. And it was 3. It was like money laundering, unlicensed money transmission, and failure to file suspicious activity reports. And the thing is that I actually did break the law. You know, that's
I read the case. You definitely broke the law.
That's what hit me here really hard. I was like, Charlie,
you hadn't really internalized that previously.
I didn't know anything. No,
because up until they told you to shut it down and that guidance had come out, you didn't even think about the law.
I never thought about anything. We were just
nobody was talking about money transmission. We shut down.
No one said money. I didn't even know that money transmission, anything, money laundering, like crazy thing. And listen, at the end of the day, I took it over the edge because I allowed that customer. There was a customer, so you know.
There's that damning quote.
They have one customer who emailed me, and he was like, "I'm selling, you know, my Bitcoin on Silk Road," and I knew he was doing it, and I responded and said, "Like, I know what you're doing. Don't do it." And I let him continue doing it.
Well, then they had an email to one of your employees being like, "He's giving us so much money, like, just let him go." That was the damning one.
And so here I was, like, I knew immediately that. Like I was in some deep shit.
Yeah.
And now this Bitcoin thing is money. Here I broke the law.
But was there ever a moment when you were like, well, look at the financial crisis. You know, these banks have been proven to like a lot.
Everyone else was doing that for me. All the pundits were on TV
defending
all the people were defending me.
Everyone was defending me.
They're
like, he's a kid. Yeah.
But the best thing you can do is just shut your mouth. Shut up. Like, don't be like Billy McFarland from the Fire Festival. And you probably
hadn't shut your mouth for 4 years at that point.
At that point, finally, for the first time, I shut my mouth. And I shut up. And the times that I did talk to the press, I got in trouble. Like, I would go to the New York Times and I would say, like, yeah, the government just wants a Bitcoiner. And then the New York Times prints that. The judge wakes up and fucking reads that. And here I am getting called into court, not for anything to do with my case, just so the judge can yell at me. And I have so much respect for that judge. I love him so much. He really could have made my life bad, and he didn't. But like everything that happened to me,
what were you facing?
They wanted like 30 years. Everything that happened to me was my own fault. It was my own doing. I had made a mistake as a kid, and I had to, because now Bitcoin was this money thing, I had to fucking face some hard times, some hard facts, some hard truth here.
Well, this is why I really admire you. This is why when you were on house arrest and we first got connected, I don't even know who connected us.
I think you just like emailed me and you were like, I'm downstairs from your apartment. Can I come upstairs? No, this guy's the ultimate hustler.
No, because the first time we met was, I think, or I spoke to you, was it was in Chicago. You had the telepresence robot.
Oh yeah.
And we spoke, you were my profile picture. Yeah.
Jake Denelt. Yeah. Rest in peace. He had carried him that. Yeah, when I was under house arrest, we had a robot that was going to Bitcoin conferences so I can speak.
Yeah, no, and but the reason, like I had really liked you before you got arrested and admired what you were doing, and then your humility and like, yes, there were some bad quotes after you got arrested, but really your humility, especially when I spoke to you about the fact that you had fucked up and really taking ownership, because that's, I'd been arrested 7 times. I had never taken ownership. Like it took me a long time to come to terms with my own fuckery, but did you have like a come to God moment when you were in that jail cell or, on bond or
house arrest? I guess it really hit me when I realized how seriously the government was taking my case. And at that point, and the fact that the details were all there.
And Ross had already been arrested.
Ross had been arrested.
And
I knew that at least I knew that I was guilty. I was pleading guilty. I knew I was pleading guilty for like the first month or two that I was arrested.
And your lawyers thought you should?
Of course.
Because you thought you'd get a better deal.
Oh my God. It's
so
going to trial. I would lose. I was guilty. Like, why would I even, so I mean, could have been so much worse, So I knew that I was hoping that I would, yes, I'd be a felon, but I'd get probation. I was like, I didn't think I'd actually do time.
No, I remember that.
I really didn't think I would do time.
You were very, both of you were.
I was really thinking that
you were very optimistic back then.
The government was so stringent on the house arrest and and I was like not understanding why. I was like, I'm not going to run. Why would I run?
Well, you had been flying around the world for the past few years and they knew you had crypto.
So that's really what it was. And I was like thinking that maybe they were being so hard on the house arrest part because I won't get time. I was even telling my like pretrial officer, you'll be my probation officer.
That would be your time served or something. Yeah.
And that was a mistake too. And so the come to Jesus moment was really that, like, even getting probation was going to be a really, really shitty thing.